Welcome, everyone. We're on the chapter At Ram's House, and I believe we're on page 792. Let's see. During the stage of sadhana, one should describe God by all of his attributes. One day Hazra said to Narendra, God is infinity. Infinite is his splendor. Do you think he will accept our offerings of sweets and bananas or listen to your music? This is a mistaken notion of yours. Narendra at once sank 10 fathoms. So I said to Hazra, you villain, where will these youngsters be if you talk to them like that? How can a man live if he gives up devotion? No doubt God has infinite splendor, yet he is under the control of his devotees. A rich man's gatekeeper comes to the parlor, where his master is seated with his friends. He stands on one side of the room. In his hand he has something covered with a cloth. He is very hesitant. The master asks him, well, gatekeeper, what have you in your hand? Very hesitantly, the servant takes out a custard apple from under the cover, places it in front of his master, and says, Sir, it is my desire that you should eat this. The master is impressed by his servant's devotion. With great love, he takes the fruit in his hand and says, this is a very nice custard apple. Where did you pick it? You must have taken a great deal of trouble to get it. God is under the control of his devotees. King Duryodhana was very attentive to Krishna and said to him, please have your meal here. But the Lord went to Vidura's hut. He is very fond of his devotees. He ate Vidura's simple rice and greens as if it were celestial food. Sometimes a perfect jnani behaves like a ghoul. He does not discriminate about food and drink, holiness and unholiness. A perfect knower of God and a perfect idiot have the same outer signs. A perfect jnani perhaps does not utter the mantras while bathing in the Ganga. While worshiping God, perhaps he offers all the flowers together at his feet. He doesn't utter the mantras, nor does he observe the rituals. A man cannot renounce action as long as he desires worldly enjoyment. As long as one cherishes a desire for enjoyment, one performs action. A bird sat absent-mindedly on the mast of a ship, anchored in the Ganga. Slowly the ship sailed out into the ocean. When the bird came to its senses, it could find no shore in any direction. It flew toward the north, hoping to reach land. It went very far and grew very tired, but could find no shore. What could it do? It returned to the ship and sat on the mast. After a long while, the bird flew away again, this time toward the east. It couldn't find land in that direction either. Everywhere it saw nothing but limitless ocean. Very tired, it again returned to the ship and sat on the mast. After resting a long while, the bird went toward the south and then toward the west. When it found no sign of land in any direction, it came back and settled down on the mast. It did not leave again, but sat there without making any further effort. It no longer felt restless or worried because it was free from worry. It made no further effort. Captain, what an illustration. Master, worldly people wander about to the 4 quarters of the earth for the sake of happiness. They don't find it anywhere. They only become tired and weary. When through their attachment to lust and greed, they suffer misery, they feel an urge toward dispassion and renunciation. Most people cannot renounce lust and greed without first enjoying it. There are two sorts of people: those who stay in one place and those who go about to many places. They are like sadhakas who visit many sacred places. They cannot settle down in one spot. They must drink the water of many holy places. Thus, roaming about, they satisfy their unfulfilled desires. At last they build a hut in one place and settle down there. Then, free from worry and effort, they meditate on God. But what is there to enjoy in the world? Lust and greed? That is only momentary pleasure. One moment it exists, and the next moment it disappears. The world is like an overcast sky that steadily pours down rain. The face of the sun is seldom seen. There is mostly suffering in the world. On account of the cloud of lust and greed, one cannot see the sun. Some people ask me, "Sir, why has God created such a world? Is there no way out for us?" I say to them, "Why shouldn't there be a way out? Take shelter with God and pray to Him with a yearning heart for a favorable wind, that you may have things in your favor. If you call on Him with yearning, He will surely listen to you." A man had a son who was on the point of death. In a frenzy, he asked remedies of different people. One of them said, "Here is a remedy. First, it must rain when the star Swati is in the ascendant. Then some of the rain must fall into a skull. Then a frog must come there to drink the water, and a snake must chase it. And when the snake is about to bite the frog must hop away, and the poison must fall into the skull. You should give the patient a little of the poison and rainwater from the skull." The father set out eagerly to find the medicine when the star Swati was in the sky. It started raining. Fervently he said to God, "O Lord, please get a skull for me." Searching here and there, he at last found a skull with rainwater in it. Again he prayed to God, saying, "O Lord, I beseech thee, please help me find the frog and the snake." Since he had great longing, he got the frog and the snake also. In the twinkling of an eye, he saw a snake chasing a frog, and as it was about to bite the frog, its poison fell into the skull. If one takes shelter with God and prays to Him with great longing, God will surely listen. He will certainly make everything favorable. Captain, what an apt illustration. Master, yes, God makes everything favorable. Perhaps the aspirant doesn't marry. Thus he is able to devote his whole attention to God. Or perhaps his brothers earn the family's livelihood. Or perhaps a son takes on the responsibilities of the family. Then the aspirant will not have to bother about the world. He can give 100% of his mind to God. But one cannot succeed unless one renounces lust and greed. Only by renunciation is ignorance destroyed. The sun's rays, falling on a lens, burn many objects. But if a room is dark inside, you cannot get that result. You must come out of the room to use the lens. Some people live in the world even after attaining jnana. They see both what is inside and what is outside the room. The light of God illumines the world. Therefore, with that light, they can discriminate between good and bad, permanent and impermanent. The ignorant who lead a worldly life without knowing God are like people living in a house with mud walls. With the help of a dim light, they can see the inside of the house, but nothing more. But those who live in the world after having attained knowledge and realized God are like people living in a glass house. They see the inside of the room and also all that is outside. The light from the sun of knowledge enters strongly into the room. They perceive everything inside the room very clearly. They know what is good and what is bad, what is permanent and what is impermanent. God alone is the doer, and we are all his instruments. Therefore, it is impossible even for a jnani to be egotistic. The writer of a hymn to Shiva felt proud of his achievement, but his pride was dashed to pieces when Shiva's bull bared its teeth. He saw that each tooth was a word of the hymn. Do you understand the meaning of this? These words had existed from the beginningless past. The writer had only discovered them. It is not good to be a guru by profession. One cannot be a teacher without a command from God. He who says he is a guru is a man of mean intelligence. Excuse me, there's a footnote on that, on the word guru there. And the word means both spiritual leader and heaviness. Haven't you seen a balance? The lighter side goes higher. He who is spiritually higher than others does not consider himself a guru. Everyone wants to be a teacher, but a disciple is hard to find. Trilokya was seated on the floor to the north of the small couch. He was going to sing. Sri Ramakrishna said to him, "Ah, how sweetly you sing." Trilokya sang to the accompaniment of a tampura. "I have joined my heart to thee, all that exists art thou. Thee only have I found, for thou art all that exists. O Lord, beloved of my heart, thou art the home of all, where indeed is the heart in which thou dost not dwell. Thou hast entered every heart, all that exists art thou. Whether sage or fool, whether Hindu or Mussulman, thou makest them as thou wilt, all that exists art thou. Thy presence is everywhere, whether in heaven or in Kaaba. Before thee all must bow, for thou art all that exists. From earth below to the highest heaven, from heaven to deepest earth, I see thee wherever I look. All that exists art thou. Pondering, I have understood. I have seen it beyond a doubt. I find not a single thing that may be compared to thee. To Jafar, it has been revealed that thou art all that exists." He sang again, "Thou art my all in all, O Lord, the life of my life, the essence of essence. In the three worlds I have none else but thee to call my own. Thou art my peace, my joy, my hope. Thou my support, my wealth, my glory. Thou art my wisdom and my strength. Thou art my home, my place of rest, my dearest friend, my next of kin, my present and my future. Thou, my heaven and my salvation. Thou art my scripture and my scriptures, my commandments. Thou art my ever gracious Guru. Thou the spring of my boundless bliss. Thou art the way and thou the goal. Thou the adorable one, O Lord. Thou art the mother tender-hearted, thou the chastising father. Thou the creator and protector, thou the helmsman who dost steer my craft across the sea of life." While Sri Ramakrishna listened to the songs, he's overwhelmed with emotion. Again and again he said, "Ah, thou art all. Ah me, ah me." The music was over. It was 6:00 in the evening. Sri Ramakrishna went to the pine grove, M accompanying him. Sri Ramakrishna was laughing and talking. Suddenly he said to M, "Why haven't you eaten any refreshments? Why haven't the others eaten either?" He was eager for the devotees to take some refreshments. Sri Ramakrishna was to go to Calcutta in the evening. While returning from the pine grove, he said to M, I don't know who will take me to Calcutta in his carriage. It was evening. A lamp was lighted in Sri Ramakrishna's room, and incense was burned. Lamps also were lighted in the different temples and buildings. The orchestra was playing in the Nahabat. Soon the evening service would begin in the temples. Sri Ramakrishna sat on the small couch. After chanting the names of the different deities, he meditated on the Divine Mother. The evening service was over. Sri Ramakrishna paced the room, now and then talking to the devotees. He also consulted M about his going to Calcutta. Presently, Narendra arrived. He was accompanied by Sharat and one or two other young devotees. They all saluted the master. At the sight of Narendra, Sri Ramakrishna's love overflowed. He tenderly touched Narendra's chin, as one does a baby's to show one's love. He said in a loving voice, "Ah, you have come." The master was standing in his room facing the Ganga. Narendra and his young friends were talking to him facing the east. The master turned toward him and said, "Narendra has come. How can I go to Calcutta now? I sent for Narendra. How can I go now? What do you think?" M. "As you wish, sir. Let us put it off today." Master, "All right. We shall go tomorrow, either by boat or by carriage." To the other devotees, "It is late. Go home now." One by one, the devotees saluted him and departed. And that was the end of that chapter. Go home now. Any questions or anything, comments about what we've read? Otherwise, we'll start chapter 42, Car Festival at Balaram's house. Now, does everyone know what a car festival is? The car festival is when they put the deities, the Lord, on a cart and go around the town. They do production around the town. Here in Santa Barbara, Our Lady of Guadalupe takes the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe out and takes her around. They do it in Spain also, so it's not just India. Balaram's house has a cart up on the, what would you call it, mezzanine. You would call it a mezzanine. It's a courtyard, central courtyard, and there's a cart there that is the one that Sri Ramakrishna helped pull when they did these festivals. So, car festival at Balaram's house. Monday, July 13th, 1885. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in Balaram's drawing room with his devotees. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. Balaram was going to celebrate the car festival the following day. The deity Jagannath was worshipped daily in his house. Jagannath is Lord of the universe, and the main temple is in Puri. He had a small car which would be drawn along the veranda to celebrate the festival. The master had been especially invited for the occasion. Sri Ramakrishna and M were talking together. Narayan, Tej Chandra, Balaram, and other devotees were in the room. The master was talking about Purna, a lad of 15. He was very eager to see the boy. Master to M. "Well, by which road will he come to see me? Please have Purna and Dvija meet each other. When two people are the same age and have the same inner nature, I bring them together. There is meaning in this. In this way, both make progress. Have you noticed Purna's longing for God?" M. "Yes, sir. One day I was riding on a train. He saw me from the roof of his house and ran down to the street. I was riding on a tram. With great fervor, he saluted me from the street." Master, with tears in his eyes, Ah, it is because you have helped him make the contact through which he will find out the supreme ideal of his life. One doesn't act like that unless one longs for God. Narendra, the younger Narayan, and Purna, these three have a manly nature. It is not so with Bhavanat. He has a womanly nature. Purna is in such an exalted state that either he will very soon give up his body, the body is useless after the realization of God, or his inner nature will within a few days burst forth. He has a divine nature, the traits of a god. It makes a person less fearful of man. If you put a garland of flowers round his neck, or smear his body with sandal paste, or burn incense before him, he will go into samadhi, for then he will know beyond the shadow of a doubt that Narayana himself dwells in his body, that it is Narayana who has assumed the body. I have come to know about it. A few days after my first experience of the God-intoxicated state at Dakshineshwar, a lady of a Brahmin family arrived here. She had many good traits. No sooner was a garland put round her neck and incense burnt before her than she went into samadhi. A few moments later, she experienced great bliss. Tears streamed from her eyes. I saluted her and said, "Mother, shall I succeed?" "Yes," she replied. I want to see Purna once more, but how will it be possible for me? It seems he is a part, and there's a footnote on that, a part of the divine incarnation. How amazing, not a mere particle, but a part. Very intelligent too. I understand that he is very clever in his studies. Therefore, I have hit it right. By dint of austerity, a man may obtain God on his own. By the roadside on the way to Kamarpukur is Ranjit Raya's lake. Bhagavati, the Divine Mother, was born as his daughter. Even now, people hold an annual festival there in the month of Chaitra to honor the Divine Daughter. I feel very much like going there. Ranjit Raya was the landlord of that part of the country. Through the power of his tapasya, he obtained the Divine Mother as his daughter. He was very fond of her, and she too was much attached to him. She hardly left his presence. One day, Ranjit Raya was engaged in the duties of his estate. He was very busy. The girl, with her childlike nature, was constantly interrupting him, saying, "Father, what is this? What is that?" Ranjit Raya tried with sweet words to persuade her not to disturb him, and said, "My child, please leave me alone. I have much work to do." But the girl would not go away. At last, absent-mindedly, the father said, "Get out of here." On this pretext, she left home. A peddler of conch shell articles was going along the road. From him she took a pair of bracelets for her wrists. When he asked for the price, she said that he could get the money from a certain box in her home. Then she disappeared. Nobody saw her again. In the meantime, the peddler came to the house and asked for the price of his bracelets. When she was not found in the home, her relatives began to run about looking for her. Ranjit Raya sent people in all directions to search for her. The money owed to the peddler was found in the box as she had indicated. Ranjit Raya was weeping bitterly when people came running to him and said that they had noticed something in the lake. They all ran there and saw an arm with conch shell bracelets on the wrist being waved above the water. A moment afterwards, it disappeared. Even now, people worship her as the Divine Mother at the time of the annual festival. To M, all this is true. M, yes, sir. Okay, we'll stop there. and it's at the very bottom of the page. We have like 2 lines. The M says, yes, sir, and the master talks about Narendra now believes these things. Bad place to stop, but that's where we're stopping. Any questions or comments? Okay, we had a wonderful Karma Yoga day today. We got so many things done. The temple is just shining. It's so nice and clean, and so is the stove. You never know what you're going to be put to work on when you come for Karma Yoga Day. Tomorrow, Rajika Vrajaprana will give a talk on Sri Ramakrishna and us. Then we have the regular reading, Glimpses of a Great Soul, the portrait of Swami Sardananda, Wednesday at 5 in the temple. And next Saturday, we have our regular reading of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, 5 o'clock again. So it's good to see you all. And we'll end with a small chant. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. See you next week. Okay?
Thank you.